start recording. I'm about to say because we gonna keep going here. No, that's what's up, man. Glad to hear it. We'll have to talk more about it. So, all right, let's jump into this thing, man. No, one J a tough dude to get a hold of. So, man, it's been a little while now. You know, Lord.
Yes, tell him to get off my back. That's cool. God. Plus, also too, I was sick for a week. I was out for a week, and that was the first time I've ever in my life had no taste and no smell. It was crazy.
Oh,
That
wow.
was crazy. But it didn't pop up as COVID though. None of my tests came back positive, and then I just had my coaching meeting. Was that Monday, Tuesday? What we had? No, it's today, Tuesday. So Monday, he was telling me that he had COVID like that following weekend. So I'm like, dang, did I give it to him? I don't know. But yeah, it was when you take I took a whole week off. Kids was missing me, like, we missed you. I didn't miss y'all.
Nah, it was tough, man. It happens, man. But it's all right. We back. We rocking. We rolling. So we back. So welcome to another episode of Share the Vibes Podcast. I am your founder, your host, Jink the DJ, founder CEO of Share the Vibes LLC. Glad to have you with us for another episode with another special guest, because you know every guest is special here at Share the Vibes Podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment below, click that bell so you know when we're live. If you're on Spotify or Apple, you don't have a bell, so just do everything else that's there. Comment, post, share it, post it, whatever. Just put it in your story. Just make it happen. Share it with somebody who needs to hear the conversation. So thank you for being with us for this audio visual journey. Yeah, I just threw that one, and I ain't never said that one before. We're going to see if that one sticks. So, hey, man, before we get into our special guest, we gotta give the floor to our esteemed debonair. I got to work on my preacher words, man. I got to get my preacher words. But 1J, how you doing, brother?
Man, good, man. Good. Like I said, trying to get on the good foot, man. Just scheduling and all that good stuff. Like you said, man, it's been pretty crazy these past couple of weeks, but you know, school's almost over with. But yeah, man, it's been good. Man. More people want a podcast, which is good. But you know, you only get 7 days out the week.
Yep.
And most of them days are already filled up. So yeah, try to bring people in. So it's about that time, man. It's about that time to start getting some interns and some more folks in there, which is not a bad thing. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that.
Good stuff, man. Make sure y'all tap in with Audio Moguls Media. We are a part of Audio Moguls Podcast Network. Glad members of that. So like I say, you know, we got music and tech covered, but he got sports, black opinions, women, some other tech stuff, whatever you need, man. It's on the network. So audiomoguls.com. It's in the description. Click that link. Tap in, follow it on IG. And just check out some dope podcasts, man. People doing dope things, having good conversations, just trying to do something positive out here. That's all we doing. Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. That's all. So, yeah, man. Well, another special guest as always. We got Mr. Frank Expression. Is that your last name?
No, that's not my last name. Love that as the first question.
Yeah, there we go. I usually true up the we're gonna break the ice with this one. I said I'm just gonna drop it today. So we had Christopher Perceptions on a few episodes ago. Dope guy out of Milwaukee. He was actually in Carolina for a while, but he does a lot of work around blockchain and AI, crypto, educating people, no code clarity. So just a lot of new way of using technology when it comes down to money and building software. So he's about education stuff, but he changed his name legally to Christopher Perceptions. But for all the time I know, he was part of the first festival too. I was like, hey man, is that your government? That's your legal name? That's your government name? He said, it is my government. That's a wrong question. Is that your birth name? So it wasn't, but he's changing his kids' last name, Perceptions, all that stuff. So it's dope, man. Every now and then I meet somebody who's just transformed their name. But Frank Expression. So let's start with that, man. How did you get the name Frank Expression?
So Frank is actually my middle name.
Okay.
And Carter is my actual last name, first name Paul. I'm actually the fourth, crazy enough. So Paul Frank Carter the fourth. That's my full actual government name.
I did not know that
birth
at all.
name. No, a lot of people don't know until they actually ask. But yeah, so just I started off with just my first last name is like a performance name. It's like you need an actual stage name. It's like okay,
Mm.
I'll see what works. So some people like joke around call me Frank since they know that's my middle name, and then expression kind of just came to me just randomly. It's like, I think I'm gonna try that out. That works. So crazy enough, this is actually my brand-I-Versary month right now. So
Hey,
I've been Frank Expression for 6 years now.
Okay,
So
Brand-I-Versary. We need to drop some air horns on that one or something.
uh-huh.
okay. What that got?
Brand-I-Versary. I ain't never heard about say Brand-I-Versary before.
Really? I know a
Trendsetter.
couple people.
Trendsetter. Brand-I-Versary. Make some noise for the Brand-I-Versary. Come on. I'm taking
And
that one. I'm taking that one. There will be a Brand-I-Versary post this year.
yep, brand anniversary, birthdays, everything.
Oh
Anniversary, you celebrate everything
yeah.
else.
Yeah. You right.
Anniversary. Dang, mine will be in April. Mine coming up then. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's July for Share the Vibes. I think July 1st is
Okay.
when I officially got the LLC. I think it was July 1st, 2020.
Anniversary. That's tight. I like
Okay.
that.
Okay, I like
Hmm.
that. How you spell that?
Right. That might be a thing. I'm over here to write it down
Brand
right now.
a versary. However you want to spell versary.
Brand-I-Versary. I feel like brand with the I-versary don't hit the same. Like, I don't know. Let me see here. I'm just looking
That
at it.
brand anniversary.
Yeah, I feel like that don't hit right. Let me see here.
Yeah. No, that's tight though. No, congratulations on that, man. That's what's up. Like to
Thank you.
run the brand,
Anniversary.
and well, you know how people people always quit, but going
Yeah.
to keep is just that's amazing. I'm over here cracking up. You really trying to
Yeah, I'm
find
trying. I'm gonna make it work. I gotta make it work, man. Dang, then autocorrect messed me up that time. Dang.
and I see you got it on the hoodie as well too. So like just
Oh yeah.
when you put it together, like was it like this click or you had to live with it a little bit or
I had to live with it for probably like 2, 3 weeks
mm,
because it felt so foreign.
mm,
My
Mm-hmm.
first performance as Frank Expression, I didn't even say that my name was Frank Expression. I just put on the open mic list Frank, and see
okay.
how that goes. It's like, man, I missed the opportunity to like make a breakout moment. But yeah, Frank Expression just kind of grew on me, and like it really stuck as the years kept going. I was like, that's a great name, great name, great name. It's like, you know what? That's it. That's my name. So I had a friend of mine make a couple logos for me. Threw everything on a t-shirt. I got actually got on a whole sweatsuit right now.
Mhm.
Just throw it on everything because why not? You are your biggest promoter,
Yeah.
and if I'm gonna be an example for that, let that be it.
So I have this like DJ logo that kind of just came out of my guy just messing around. But a few people told me you need to put this on a shirt or a hat or something. I'm like, people don't want to wear my face, but Frank over here he's playing the trumpet on his hoodie right now, on his
Hmm.
chest. And it's smooth, man. It's smooth, man. I like it.
Thank you.
Come
Shout out to
on,
Nate
man.
Variety.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot, man. So happy brand anniversary.
Thank you. I
Uh,
appreciate it.
I legit just sent one of like 3 different text messages trying to see which one looks the
I
best.
got it. I got it.
So all right, sixth brand anniversary. So let's take it 6 years back. What's happening that sparks this creation?
So even 7 years back,
Okay,
honestly,
okay, get me together.
I I moved back from to Baltimore. That's originally where I'm from.
Okay,
Went to North Carolina A&T for college. Once I graduated, went back home, and I was just looking for friends, looking for stuff to do. After about a year or so, and I saw that old friend of mine was having was doing an open mic. His name is Tice. We go back to like I don't know 2008, so just way back, and he was performing at this open mic. I was thinking like, oh, this is pretty cool. So I go through a couple more for like 6 months or so. I was like, you know what? I think I can do this poetry, spoken word thing. It was still kind of new. But I took a couple creative classes, and it's like, man, I'm actually good at this, and
mm.
like it's crazy starting something so late in life because you speak to other like poets, other spoken word artists, like, yeah, I've been doing this since I was like 4 years old. I've been doing this 16, 18 years. Like, I've been doing 6, and I just happen to be good at it. So there's definitely a difference in talent and skill, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been rocking with it ever since.
There's a difference in talent and skill.
Yeah.
What's the difference in talent and skill, Mwanje?
Oh, that's a great question. So, talent is the natural born, you naturally born with it, but skill is something you got to work at it. You got to work at that skill to build that skill up. That's when you take your talent and you work at it and it becomes effortless. I think that's the difference. Talent and skill. Talent is what you're born with, but skill is what you work with.
Well,
That's a good definition.
let's see what Frank got to say about that. I want to see because I want to hear the poet explain it.
Yeah.
No, I kind of always seen like talent and skill as like just two separate things, similar to what you said, as far as like
Mhm.
talent being something that you constantly work, talent being something that's like that you're already born with, you just happen to be good at it. But skill, I seeing poetry as a skill is like you don't have to ever have been previously good at it. Like it doesn't have to come naturally. Like, you can completely suck at it at first, but you still work at it, and then sometimes you never get good you know and honestly that ends up being the people that take poetry or anything like it's more like a hobby you
Mhm.
know but those that do get good, I really figure it out and like actually don't quit even when they do suck. Those are people that actually like make a talent out of a skill. Yeah.
That's all right. Can you ever lose a talent?
Oh
That's
yeah.
What causes one to lose
Yeah.
a talent?
Oh man, it could be anything. You can lose the love for it. You can lose a loved one that like actually sparked you to even like pursue it.
Mhm.
um Literally almost anything. Trauma has this crazy way of like disheartening people, like literally taking your heart out your body and just
Yeah.
leaving you like a
Mhm.
corpse almost. And that happens to a lot of people, you know?
And it's funny because as you were saying, yeah, you started talking. In my head, I said a trauma response. You can lose talent as a trauma response. I don't know what kind of road I was about to go down now, but I guess we're here now.
I don't know if you can lose it. I think it's just not as sharp as it was. That's what I would argue. It's not as sharp as it was. Because I'm thinking about a musician. If they can't sing, they still musically inclined. Can be still musically inclined. I can argue. I would argue. Like maybe they're not able to sing like they used to, but they still know, what they can train somebody else in their talent and still know that okay, that's not how you hit that note. That's not the right note. Like this is you need to go a little bit higher to hit this note or pitch. I think it's just it gets dull after a while. I don't know. That's my argument. That's my argument. That's just my argument. I could be totally
I
thought
don't know,
about it
man.
like because if we say that it's a natural born and dare say God given talent, it's always there, right? It's just dull.
Well, they say
Maybe
if you don't use it, you lose it.
you can, yeah. And I think being dull, I think it's being dulled, it could be lost. That could be in its way lost. I don't know.
So we
I
bring
don't
a
know.
poet
It
on and
makes me
we
think
end
of
up.
like
We ain't never did this before. We get Frank on here.
That's my expression. Look, we getting philosophical and all that stuff like that. Now I got to think about that. Can you really
yeah.
lose it?
I don't know. It makes me think of like eyesight. Like if you're
Yeah,
naturally born with eyesight and then
yeah.
talent is the eyesight. Like you can lose your sight, but still
Right.
remember what things look like.
hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mm.
You can
Yeah.
lose your sight, but remember what things look like. Huh. So then, have you actually lost the sight, or have you lost the
I'm
skill,
saying that
or have
is
you
it just
have you lost the skill that is seeing?
Mm.
What are we doing here, man? Hey, man. So
That's hilarious.
oh man. So
That's a crazy rabbit hole.
it is. It really is. It really is. So were you in the band growing up? What did the trumpet come into play?
Yeah. So my dad played the trumpet. Um, I've been playing since '05,
Okay.
and I played all throughout high school and college.
Okay.
Like just that now that's a skill. That is a skill. I was very bad for a very long time. And then I got good. And then got to college and I was bad again. I had to retrain that skill just to get better. And sometimes I still lose it at times if
Yeah.
I don't practice. Um, but yeah, love trumpet.
Do I remember
Love
you saying
trumpet.
you played trumpet in the band at A&T?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Play all 5 years I was there, section leader, everything.
Okay. Were you KK side?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spring 16.
Didn't I say you? Didn't we realize you knew Aaron Jordan?
Yeah.
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 Okay. I think that's
Yeah.
coming back to me now. So, Aaron and I, we worked together at GE Healthcare for a minute. Matter
Right.
of fact, when I moved back from my rotation in Connecticut, it was like 6 months. I took over his apartments. We were roommates for like maybe a month, if that. While he figured some things out. But yeah, Aaron's good people, man. That's my guy. He crazy, but that's
Oh,
my
definitely.
guy. That's my
A little
guy.
bit,
So shout out to you,
that's
Aaron.
spring 12 for you.
Shout out to Aaron, man. Shout out to Aaron. All right, Monja, I gave you the alley oop. I gave you the lob.
What I was gonna say, I was gonna hit to right before I even get there, going back to that, because I always go back to the beginnings, but talk about the skill it takes to play the trumpet. And I played the trumpet in my freshman year in high school in band, and that's why I learned the treble clef. And then I went to piano because I wanted to learn the bass clef, and I feel like learning the piano, you was able to make. Ultimately, my goal is to make beats. So, talk a little bit about like what is the skill, since we're talking about skill, to actually play the trumpet, because there's three valves, and it's like people think like, well, how can you get a G out of that, or how can you get a B out of that? And it's really it's doable.
Yeah. There's definitely a science to it, just the way the trumpet works. But just from like, I don't know, the user experience, just using the trumpet, uh, buzzing with your lips. So have your lips almost like curled in and then pushing air through it so that there's a vibration. And so you put that through a mouthpiece. I can get into different type of mouthpieces later. But yeah, sound is produced. You press down a valve and there are different holes within those valves that make different notes almost. So different, I would say more so valve combinations that would
Yeah.
make different notes. And then you get to the more air that you push through the horn, the higher you can play. I'm one of those higher players, so there's definitely some favoritism in there.
Yeah.
But there's different exercises just to make sure that you hit those high notes on a consistent basis. Yeah, there's a ton of skill. And it took me a long time to like really get there.
Which instrument requires the most skill? Let's stir up some beef.
I'm gonna say piano.
I didn't expect that. Okay.
Yeah. No, trumpet can be easy. My wife is actually a piccolo slash flute player.
Okay.
And that takes even more air than a tuba, believe it or not, just to play. And so, lung capacity, that's something that you also have to build up. So there's a certain amount of skill for that. But all the keys, like knowing every single note in the key without like it being written down on it, piano has it.
Do you play piano? You play keys?
No, I don't. I only play trumpet.
So I was in the band too, not in college. I planned to be in the band because I went to Miles College in Birmingham. My plan was to join the band when I got to Miles, and I got there and I went to sleep, and they was on the field practicing, and I woke up and they were singing early in the morning before I get breakfast. I got to get down. I said, "Oh no, I'm nope. I got other plans. Band is not conducive to what I'm trying to do at this juncture in life." But throughout middle and high school, I was in the band, so percussionist. I marched snare. But concert band, symphonic band, all that stuff. Now I was doing xylophone. I was the one who would volunteer for the xylophone and the bells part. Nobody in percussion wants to play xylophone and bells, so I volunteered for it. So number one, Jay's talking about learning treble clef and bass clef. Now I did that. So to your point, it definitely requires a certain level of skill for piano, especially if you're actually playing piano. because you reading treble and bass at the same time. One hand doing treble, one doing bass, and that's just trippy, just mind games there alone. But because of that, and starting on drums, so you learning rudiments and all these different note combinations. Now, as a percussionist, like we learn certain types of note combinations before any of the other sections. At a middle school level, on certain instruments, like you might play an eighth note, you might get a little 16th note here and there. You on the flute, you might get a trill here, but percussion, we're doing paradiddles and like 4/16 note put together with a little dot on it with a eighth something on it, and you're like, how do I do this? So in high school, it's funny seeing the other sections starting to play these pieces. And it's like, what in the world is this? Well, yeah, I've been knowing that for a long time. So when I would play like the xylophone, bells, it would, it kind of translates a little easier for us. So like, I know the rhythm, I know that from playing snare, I know that from playing bass. Now it's just learning what the keys are. So that was always cool. I have a keyboard. It's actually set up over here. So my 1J, I got a new power cord for my keyboard while we were still in Milwaukee. And not even like right before we moved. It was maybe like a year before we moved or something. And I did not take that power cord out of that box until maybe about a month or two ago. Because my daughter, and we're in Charlotte now, like 2-3 years later. But my daughter wanted me to set my keyboard up. So Frank, I set my keyboard up, and my daughter comes in my office one night, and she's like tapping on the keys. She just turned 7, so she's like 6 at the time. But she's just tapping on the keys. And I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds familiar. And then I said, hey, is that for Elise? She's like, yeah, I play it on my iPad all the time. Like, well, what are you talking about, bro? Like, what are we doing here, man? These kids are different. Yeah, so my daughter start playing for Elise out of nowhere. I was like, what in the world? Like, I think I know what you need to do in the talent show this year. Yeah. Now, granted, it's like the one finger thing, but hey, you doing it. Like, that's crazy.
Technology and music. There
you
go.
And we ain't never talked about Beethoven before, but she's on that iPad doing stuff. And it translated.
Translate it, though. That's tight. That is tight. Well, that's all in the acts, too. So the trumpet is loud, and you say you play it loud, to the highest notes. Where did you find the space to do that, especially when you practicing at the crib or at home and it was family? Like chill, like you so I always found, for me, going to my grandparents' basement and doing it, but I always felt like I was too loud. So where did you find the space, and did people welcome it?
Yeah, it was definitely a basement of my mom's house. Just playing loud, getting complaints from neighbors and everything. It was like, hey, I'm just gonna be loud. A lot of times it's just like during practice, like at practice in the band room, just learning how to play. Now, being a grown adult, in apartments, I had to invest in like an electronic mute. And so it's like this device that goes inside the horn. You got headphones and everything, and you can just play that way. So luckily that alleviated all of the trouble I could get in with my lease offices. So
yeah, that's dope. You know about the electronic mute, 1J?
Oh, I never knew about that. That's tight.
Yeah,
that's hard. I think my wife played trumpet. And when she was in the band, she played trumpet.
Yeah,
trumpet is dope, man. I learned the B flat scale on the trombone. My best friend in high school played trombone. Man, he taught me B flat scale one day, and I was like doing good until I wasn't. But I learned the trombone is tough because you got to slide the thing and get it at the right position, and like there's like no markers for that. Like you just gotta feel it. Like you really gotta vibe.
Trombone is difficult.
Yeah, man. I always wanted to learn saxophone.
Yeah, so let's take it back then. So speaking of family and practicing in basements and all that stuff, talk about what is love for music, and we can also talk about poetry as well too, for words. Like, where did that begin? Where did that start? Like, how did you get that love, and where did that spark come from?
Oh man, I think I was just born with the love for music.
Okay.
My dad was actually a DJ.
Okay.
So the whole basement just full of equipment. He would like have gigs with the Baltimore Ravens a lot of times. And so it was just cool just seeing him out and about. And so he passed away in 2004, literally the same year, like in school, we were starting to learn like instruments and everything. So just having that trumpet is like, you know what, I'm going to stick to this trumpet because like that reminds me of him.
Yeah.
So you see me on a bus with a big old trumpet case, just going to school every day, whether we was playing it that day or not, I had it with me. which is crazy enough. And the most interesting part, I think, of my story is that when I got to high school, my high school band director actually marched in college at Morgan State with my dad.
Oh wow.
Mm.
And
Wow.
so we just had that connection. It's like, hey, are you so and so? It's like, yeah.
Mhm.
Are you the fourth? I was like, yeah, that's me. And then he just took me underneath his wing for like just all throughout high school.
That's
So getting scholarships in college, like music, just always been there.
Yeah.
All the way to the point where when I met my wife, her whole family's been in marching band like their whole lives. Her dad was a drum major at A&T. She plays the flute and clarinet. Her whole family's literally just running E.E. Smith marching band in Fayetteville.
Mm.
So just having true love for like music, it just brought us together, kept us together. And so it kind of just transferred straight to just spoken word, just having a love and appreciation for the art and just what it can do as far as like getting you through hard times, expressing things to other people and just like really getting your point across. And so I think I just always kept that with me, and I tried to like
mm.
instill that in other people. Like, hey, you got something on your mind. This is how you express it, whether it be music, whether it be art, painting, poetry, anything.
You brought up a great point there about expressing yourself through music and kind of help you through those times. So going back, to the expression as an adult now, you got a family. Um, how do you find yourself, I guess, channeling certain like certain situations you're going through, channeling that through your poetry, your spoken word? Like, do you
Yeah.
like for me, if I'm having a rough day, I might take a walk, or I might like listen to a song I like to hear that's gonna calm me down or something. Or I might find a reason to leave the house and go for a drive or something. Like I might just find a reason to kind of escape. Do you find yourself creating as that escape?
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when it comes to poetry. Like whether a bar pop up in my head or I just need to get something off my chest, like
Mm,
I'll just write. Editing can come later. Like we can actually make it a poem later.
mm,
But just getting that idea, getting that feeling out of myself and on the page so I can see it and then evaluate has been just so crucial, because it's one thing to just feel a thing, but when you can like put in another tangible way such as writing,
yeah.
it turns into something different. You can look at it more so with a critical eye.
We Mwanje, we had a lot of conversations with music artists, kind of around their creative process. Um, I never thought about almost like punching in for poetry. That's kind of like what
Mm.
it sounded like when you said it. Like I just write, we'll edit later. Like I've never even thought about that way. Then I'm thinking like poetry. I'm going line by line. No, I got this where I need this one to rhyme here, or I needed to flow a certain way. Like I've never thought about just writing down the thoughts and editing later when it comes to poetry. Like what's that creative
Mm.
process like?
Oh man, it's interesting. The editing process, it can be hell, um, especially when you're trying to think through things. Whether it be two rhyme schemes or making sure that the audience is going to understand this metaphor when you say it out loud instead of just
Mm.
in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I learned from one of the best kind of poets in the world. His name is Black Chakra. Just how to think through different figurative languages to really convey a point. I think my favorite probably is alliteration.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
So
yeah.
using the same consonant sound over and over again. That's
Mm-hmm.
probably my favorite, just because
Yeah.
it does something to the brain once you hear it. It's like, oh, this guy's actually saying something. Like, let me listen up. So yeah, that editing process is very interesting, because you're thinking about the audience who's going to listen to it.
My pastor does that a lot. When I'm analyzing his sermons, he uses alliteration a lot. Like one that stands out to me: chaos, calamity, and confusion. Like, and
Mm.
that stood out because of the C's. And so, like, yeah, that's my favorite. That and personification as well. That's one of my favorite literary devices that I like. You take an inanimate object and give it
Yeah.
human like qualities. That's one of my favorites. And hyperboles.
Yeah. My favorite is churchification. So, so
right now, man. God dog.
I like to take secular objects and topics and convert it into spiritual colloquialisms that causes the message to resonate with the listening device of the
It works. I'm using it.
audience's receiving bodily organ ear.
We was at the Black History program. Speaking of Black History program, first of all, Black folks always do stuff at the last minute. Our rehearsal was the day of the Black History program. That's why I was like, yeah, I'm stressing over here. But it actually worked out. But you know, why the first part of the program was the girls doing praise dance, and you know me, let them use you, and everybody started cracking up laughing. So it's just, I don't know, just something about, like you said, churchification with you. That's how I had to laugh, because I'm like, I definitely throw some church in something that might be secular in a minute.
Absolutely. Have I told my Primo Rice story on the pod before?
I don't know.
I don't think I did. So you familiar with Primo Rice, Frank?
No, I'm not.
So Frank, so Primo Rice, hip hop artist. Let me see here. He has collabed. I want to make sure I'm not lying here. I think he has some collaborations with Larry June out there. So like Primo, Larry June, and then there's an artist, like I think it's LE $, but they all have like very similar styles. I think Larry June has become the bigger of the three, but Primo, he got like a lot of just kind of humorous stuff. But so I have this thing, like I said, I be churchifying stuff. I'm a church kid, so I will take any song. It doesn't matter what it is. I'll make it sound like a church song. So a few years ago, headed to Chicago for my boy T Free birthday, and I think Gucci had just dropped a new album. I forgot which one it was, one of the Icy Boys or something. I don't know. But nonetheless, new Gucci album. We were running this all the way down to Chicago, and I'm in the back seat the whole drive from Milwaukee to Chicago. It's about an hour and a half, 2 hours of me just taking every Gucci song and throwing like a Yeah Lord on it, or throwing some chords in there that don't belong. I'm just making all these songs sound churchy the whole ride. So we go to, I think we're going to Henny Palooza. So we go to Henny Palooza, and then we headed out to Top Golf. So on the way to Top Golf, the guy who was driving, I was like, "Hey man, you let me put you on this Primo Rice." So I get the aux, and I turn on Primo Rice. I think I turned on Right Wrist. That's probably like my favorite Primo Rice song. And it comes on, everybody like, "Jink, this you?" I'm like, "What you mean? It's Primo Rice. What are you talking about?" So then I think I played, yeah, it was Right Wrist. Yeah, they're like, Jink, I played another song. They're like, "Man, Jink, all right now, Jink. What, you got something you need to tell us?" So while we're playing the song, I'm going through his catalog on Apple, and I realized he just dropped a new project recently. So I said, "Oh, well, let's see what's on here." The first song on the project is Cream Spiritual. he's taking Cream, Wu-Tang, Cash Rule Everything Around Me, and has made a like spiritual type of version to it. It was like, "Cash rule everything around me, Cream get the money, dollar bill, y'all." So it's like, what the world? So like, all right, now, Jink. Like, bro, this is like pure coincidence. So now I'm looking down the track list, and there's a Wipe Me Down spiritual. So of course I had to play it to hear. So I come out, he got a spiritual version of Wipe Me Down. He's like, "Wipe me down, Lord, wipe me down. Pull up at the club, VIP." And all this stuff. So everybody's like, at this point, everybody's convinced, including me, that I'm Primo Rice doubling as Devin Jenkins. So yes, that's my
That's
Primo
hilarious.
Rice story. And he actually had a project, I think about 2 years ago, and it's called, is it Churchin EP or something? I don't know. They got some vibes, but he took like the GP, are you with me now? Oh yeah, we had a church, but it's over the Just Be Grateful beat. Doom, 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 doom. Oh, you had to listen to it. I think it's called Church or something, but nonetheless, I don't quite know how churchification. Yeah, churchification. So that's my Primo Rice story that I always like to tell, because, yeah, people convinced, including myself, that just might be me.
That's I'll check that out.
Yeah, Primo
That's
Rice.
great.
Check him out. Primo Rice. Shout out to Primo.
When you're writing, and I'm assuming you're writing original music, you're creating original music as well with the trumpet. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like covers. So I do Loving You, Minnie Rippleton, Nita Baker, Music Soul Child. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there any hesitancy creating your own original music when it comes to using the trumpet?
Um, I don't think I have that creative bone
Okay,
to create the original music.
gotcha.
Um, I've played with it's a group down here called One Band
Hmm.
that it's a bunch of instrumentalists that will get together one time for one practice and then one performance.
Hmm.
And a lot of time we're playing like rock songs or like sometimes R&B songs, 90s, 80s, just pretty much anything. There's not
Hmm.
necessarily a horn part to play every single time. So I'll make up something for that to like
Hmm.
double with the vocals or double with the guitar. But just making up my own, I don't know. I tried jazz band in high school. It wasn't completely fitting.
Hmm.
I think I just need a good teacher.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
jazz is crazy. I listen to jazz and a lot of the just broken, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, brokenness of the music, but it makes sense though.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah.
broken. Like you shouldn't have played that chord right there, but that sounds great,
Right.
And it's just it's that music of. I think it's like one of the highest forms of music. I would say, and pretty. I think I would say it is the highest form of music because the stuff that they do, it's just it, it's asinine. It's like you're not supposed to do that. They do it.
Yeah, like I love
They
a good
do
jazz club and neo soul
it,
night. I
man.
love
Oh
it.
yeah.
I love it. The one of my favorite, all of the music isn't instrumental. But like I love Boney James, like TikTok. That's one of my favorite, like just jazz songs. I throw on TikTok anytime. I'm a vibe too. It's just and he's playing that trumpet. He is trumpet, right?
Mhm.
Or is he saxophone? Am I tripping? Is Boney James saxophone trumpet? Dang, I might be tripping right now. I'm just messing up the podcast.
Also, tell me this too. When it comes down to the trumpet, when you're listening to other music, are you how easily can you pull a trumpet out of a song when you're listening? When you're listening to like different music or different songs, you're like, somebody using that trumpet.
Well, if there's already trumpet in the song, I can pretty much hear it immediately. I can
Mhm.
hear a trumpet player playing 5 blocks down, just off
So
off rip. Like, oh, I hear the trumpet, and I always have a trumpet in my car, thinking that I'm going to pull up on somebody and play them down. It's never happened yet, but I'm always ready.
Got the trumpet cipher.
oh no,
Right.
that's oh never mind.
The trumpet side would be interesting.
Trumpet
But
side.
yeah, and
Oh
then put a
man.
trumpet on the song. That's I don't know. It can fit in so many different ways, and
Yeah.
then you can play different types of mutes to fit in with the song. There's so many different like I don't know accessories to trumpet. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's Mardi Gras season. Have you ever wanted to go down to like New Orleans and hit the street corner and vibe out on Church
I
Street?
have I've marched Mardi Gras. What's that? 20? Yeah, it was 2016. Um, yeah, I was doing KK at the same time, and we went down to Mardi Gras,
Mm.
A&T and marched the whole parade. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. Like so
Yeah,
many people. The bees thing is crazy to just see in person. And my wife and I always wanted to go back. We haven't made it back yet, but definitely in the
Mhm.
plans.
yeah. I got to get back down there myself, man. I think I've been to New Orleans twice. Once was for a cruise stop, so I was like there for like a day before and there for like a few hours afterwards. And then last time I was in there was literally the week before the world shut down, 2020. I had a great time with a running crowd of Milwaukee. Shout out to Fear. Yeah, we had a good time down there, man. So, yeah, New Orleans, man, great food, great music, just good vibes, man. Got to do it, got to do it. But I could definitely see you out there, man, just
Oh,
in
definitely.
the French Quarter, posted up on one of them corners, just going to work outside Willie's
Man,
Chicken Shack.
especially if you keep it in your car. What so one of the reasons why I stopped being in the band was one, they got me out of the trumpet. I felt like I was getting to the point where I was able to master the trumpet. Like I did the exam flawlessly, I killed it. And then the next thing you know, he's like, oh yeah, next year I want you to play the cornet. I'm like, what? And that was like, okay, now this instrument is a little bit heavier. And then they wanted me to be in the band too, and I wasn't trying to learn all them steps and stuff. I was like, it's time to go. But have you ever played the cornet? I'm just curious.
I think I've tried it out once or twice, but not too much. My father-in-law, like I said, he's a trumpet player. He actually gave me his flugelhorn probably like 2, 3
Mm.
years ago,
Is what
and
horn?
I've been playing that flugelhorn.
Okay.
It's just a deeper. It's like a trumpet, just with a deeper tone.
Okay.
It got like more loops and everything. I would say even that is not even as difficult as playing an actual cornet. Like to like push air through a cornet, it takes a little bit more.
Nah,
Yeah.
bro. I was like, nah, Mr. Van Pelt, I'm good, bro. You got it. He was mad. He was pissed. He was mad. He was like, you're gonna play the piano over the trumpet, or I mean, over the band. I had to get my mama up there. My mama had to come in and snap on him one good time. Like, hey, man, hey, that's my son. My son want to play the piano. He playing the piano. And then one year they got me, and I still got that piano. It's actually right there. I had this piano for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's the Yamaha. It's like a Yamaha basic piano too. I think it's like, I don't know how many keys it has on it. I done drop hookah coals on it and everything. Like that piano been through some stuff, but I still got it. And if I pull the cord up, it will turn on to this day. But I was just curious, have you ever played anything else in the trumpet family? Because that can be a stretch or a change. And like I said, that was one of the reasons why I was like, I got to get out of band. I'm not gonna play the cornet. Even the
I
trumpet.
just had to look up the cornet real quick. I would have been the ignorant person calling this a trumpet.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely in the family. Like I said, when I got it, I was like, yeah, I'm not finna play this instrument. And I'm good.
I see the
I'm good.
flugelhorn now
Yeah.
too. Okay, all right.
Uh-huh.
Y'all learning me something.
Crazy
I
enough,
thought I knew something.
I played both the trumpet and the flugelhorn. I joined this kind of group here in Charlotte called we
Mhm.
called ourselves Mint City Brass,
Hmm.
and so we did a set to open up for one band one day, and I was playing both flugel and trumpet. And the mouthpieces are so different because the flugelhorn is a little deeper,
Mm.
so it's almost like a different embouchure. Like you gotta shape your lips a little differently
Mm-hmm.
than playing the trumpet. And I was playing high notes on the trumpet. It really just took a whole toll. Just
Mm.
playing two different. It felt like two different instruments because they literally are. But yeah, I did not last too long playing both of those. It was so tough.
Oh
Who
man.
are some of your favorite trumpet players that are, past, present, or even some people that you see that can really kill it in the future? Who are some people that you follow?
Definitely Louis Armstrong, Miles Davis. Those are just two standards, two just given. Um, yeah, those are just the top two that I pretty much just stick to.
Okay.
Um, Miles Davis, Vicious Brews. Oh man, that's a crazy album, crazy track that I just stick
Yeah.
to. Favorite Miles Davis song, probably four. Yeah, those are pretty much my motivations when it comes to trumpet. Like, oh, I want to be as dynamic as Louis, both singing and playing trumpet, but I want to be as talented as Miles, just playing all types of stuff.
Mm. Do you have
I'm over here.
a favorite like subgenre of music when it comes to trumpet? Like you like that swing era? No.
Uh, I'm partial to bebop. I'm
Okay.
partial because it starts for bebop, like it starts to become like a fusion, like it
Mm.
wants to be something else, and then I feel like after bebop, there's like a missing step before you get to like something afterwards.
Mm.
So that almost line is just always fascinated me.
I was linked over because I have my vinyl set over here. Now I thought I had some Miles Davis in here, but I got more John Coltrane than anything.
Mm.
Which
Okay.
yeah, which is in. I thought I had some Miles Davis, so I gotta get some Miles Davis records. That's interesting. So um, let me ask you this. Now, moving from the instrumentation piece to now the poetry piece, how um how would I say this? How rough, how tough is the poetry game? Because I know there's some poets out there like look at you like, boo, get off stage. Like you are trash. Like how, like let's say somebody's a novice, they want to get into poetry. Like what are like I guess what are the steps to kind of become a really great poet? Because you can't just start going out there and just start thinking you the best. Like rapping is poetry, right? Hip hop is poetry. The poetry is there's no music behind you. You have this is just your voice, your
Mm-hmm.
expression, right? And how you deliver some of these metaphors and words. Just like talk about that game a little bit, the poetry game.
Oh man. You kind of just got to start from somewhere, and most of the time it
Mm.
starts with like believing that you can write or you have something to say, and then going to a workshop, sharing your work with other people. Like, oh, asking, "Hey, is this good?" Now, once you get to some of the other levels, like the open mics, like the showcases, or even just the slams, that's when you get to a little bit more of the critique. Open mics, it's just everyday people that just came to hear some
Mm,
poetry. You
mm,
Gotcha.
know, sometimes they won't snap. Sometimes they won't clap, and that's not necessarily always the talent of the writer. Sometimes it's just how they feel that day. Crazy enough,
yeah.
Yeah.
but connecting with that artist is like a lot of times how we kind of gauge whether or not we're a good writer or not. You know, at home when you're just writing, you're kind of like in an echo chamber. But when you get out there in the world, it's like, oh man, I'm not really as good as I thought I was, or I'm like, I'm a little bit better than I thought it was. Like people are actually connecting with this. Now, when being booked for like features and showcases, as somebody that's like, hey, I think you're good enough to be on the stage. Let me pay you for your work
Mm,
so
Mm.
that I can show you to my audience. A lot of times, and then when it gets to just slam, you are literally being judged by everyday people. Because with slam, the judges are picked at random. They make sure that the judges don't have a connection to anybody that's going to be performing
Right.
that night. And then you get on stage and you do your best piece, and they rank you from I think you can get scored up to 10 per judge, and they have five judges. They drop the highest and the lowest score, and then out of 30, that's just what you are. And then they'll cut some people who go to the second round, and then you have one winner at the end of the night. And so I think slam is probably I've heard it described as weightlifting for poets
mm,
because you
Yeah.
really have to give your absolute best. I don't necessarily do a whole bunch of slam
Okay.
because they have this rule against props, and I play trumpet with most, if not all, my
mm,
pieces. Not required, but it just gives a good show, and I'm about a
Mhm.
good show above everything else. And that is something that you're not going to see anywhere else. So that's my lane. I might drift one way, drift one another way, but I just like being good at both writing and playing trumpet.
mm,
Yeah. That's interesting. Because I was gonna ask, like, what style of poetry, I guess, is I don't want to say popular, but what do people gravitate to? Is it because I could just only imagine, maybe somebody being hilarious and funny, like getting the crowd to laugh over somebody that get the crowd to cry is better. But I guess it really, like you said, I guess it really depends on the judges and the people of that day and how you
Hmm.
perform. That's interesting.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
Because I
tough.
think I've heard poets say they might go into like an open mic or I don't know about a slam necessarily. I don't want to use the wrong terminology, but those showcases and they might have a few pieces on deck. So like the person before them came
Yeah.
out there and made the crowd cry. All right, y'all about to be laughing now. No, if they had the crowd turned up, they gonna summer them down with theirs just to give like a contrast to what came out before in a completely different energy. So do you take that approach?
Yeah. A lot of times, like you walk into a show, it's like thinking that you're going to do one piece, but you got to have deep pockets, and that your mood might change. How the crowd reacts to another person might change what you do that day. I sometimes let that affect me. If it's an open mic and I'm really just trying to practice a piece because I have to perform this piece for money later,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm just going to say the piece and let it be what it is. But for like entertainment purposes, yeah, definitely change it up. Just make the crowd feel. I think is the goal at the end of the day, whether it's a laugh or a cry or even all that in the same poem. Like just let them feel what you felt when you wrote the piece.
Mm.
Yeah. What type of venues have you found to be like the most conducive to an effective poetry event? Like you do your monthly wine about poetry events. Auto pour. It's a wine spot. You get your wine glass and you chill out. You bring your food in with you if you want to. No, I've been to like open mic nights at like a club like setting where they frying up chicken in the back through the little window. So God, what do you what have you found to be like the most effective or most effective venues for poetry?
Um, it a lot of times it depends on the vibe of the host or the curator for that day. I enjoy like an elevated vibe, which is why I have like the lights and everything with the wine. I just happened to come across a place that does like self-serve wine, so it just creates a whole experience and it's very nice. Um, People just love it every time they're there. But also just having any type of bar, having poetry in just any type of bar is also very fun. Um, I like private events better because you don't have to compete with loud people on the other side of the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody can just focus right there on the artist and they're nice and engaged. Well, I guess that would be my answer, just private events. I did a competition. Well, I'm currently doing a competition called Poetry in Motion. It's by the Queen City Awards here in Charlotte. They're producing it. I'm literally just hosting it, but that's also in like a secluded bar. It's more so a competition rather than open mic or anything like that.
Mm.
But people are still engaged. They still have their food, their liquor, and everything. Um, but because it's such a private event, it's like, oh, I got dressed up for this. I'm in the mood for this. Oh, I'm surprised my significant other. We're taking them to this poetry event. They're gonna snap. They're gonna laugh. They're gonna have a good time. And yeah, I prefer private events over everything else.
Yeah. Number one, Jay, you said something earlier that kind of stuck with me around, poetry is so special because you use your trumpet with your pieces, but a lot of times, like you said, a lot of slams don't allow props. So you got your words and your energy. That's what it is with poetry. You are the instrument. Um, what kind of maybe among the general poetry community, it's kind of like the feel around the collaboration of music and poetry.
They love it. I haven't met a hater yet um, for specifically what I do. I know some people even just have backtracks to their poetry, and I think a lot of times that is cool as long as we can still hear the words and actually feel the words. But the combination that I have, since you really don't see it anywhere else, is just dynamic. A lot of bookings come from it. It's like, oh, I want to book you. You're so different, yada yada. Yada. It's like, yeah, just let me come do my thing and we can have a good time.
Love it.
What is that? Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit messy. What is that poetry beef looking like? Have you ever been to a slam or a open mic and you see a poet get up there and they are absolutely talking about another poet or, yeah, I guess another poet, and everybody knows it, everybody sees it. Because I'm assuming correct me if I'm wrong. I got two questions. Number one, how tight is the poetry or poet community in Charlotte, and and then and then like what is that poetry beef looking like? Like, are we doing slam offs? Are we doing like what is that that beef looking like? Because like I said, we see ciphers and or beef in hip hop, and like I said,
Yep.
poetry and hip hop is very very close. They're cousins, if not brothers, sisters.
Yep.
What does that look like?
Now, Charlotte has a very rich history when it comes to poetry. They've won national slam championships and everything. Since I moved to Charlotte about 3, 4 years ago now, beefs have changed. There were a couple.
Okay.
It's been said that the Charlotte scene has like different silos. So you
Mm.
might have like more so spiritual poetry over here, open mic, bar poetry over here. You have your slams over here, and like it seemed very separated.
Mm.
Since it has pretty much come together, unfortunately, money dried up a couple years back,
Mm.
and just artists weren't able to get paid. Some open mics fell off. Some open mics are still like trying to stay and keep their doors open, and so that allowed us to like just come back together. Um, which is pretty much why I started this thing called the Expression Directory. It's a directory to make sure that poets have resources and constant bookings. Specifically here in Charlotte, we're looking to expand to like other cities and other states. But it's important for us to like just band together so that we can push art together. Because beef is one thing. I think it's healthy to have competition. Me and Sir Abshas have our own competition. I be talking junk to a poet named Superman all the time. Like, these are my brothers, these are my friends. I want them to grow as much as they want
Mm.
me to grow. But sometimes you gotta, do those little jabs like, oh, you only got this because of that. You only got this because of that. Because I know that's gonna like make them think differently. You make them think better. It's like, oh, I need to do this thing before Frank goes ahead and does it himself. I'm
Yeah,
like, hey, we going to stand on top of each other's shoulders at the end of the day. So beef definitely still there, definitely in competition, but I feel like it's healthier now.
That's good. That's good. And talk a little bit more about your directory, because I'm actually on the site here, and I do see some folks that are even from Milwaukee, like Mr. Butler here, who's actually I think he moved though, but he's part of Heal the Hood.
oh yeah, he's
Well,
down here now. Yeah.
yeah, okay, okay, that's what I thought. Let's talk a little bit more about the directory and how can poets be a part of it. Is it a local directory, or are you asking for all folks, poets all across the world?
I'm asking for all creatives all
Mm.
across everywhere. There are options when you fill out the directory. Either go to the link in my bio, or even just go to my website and fill out the link there. If you're a chef, you're a physical artist, if you do metalwork, woodwork, it's pretty much open to anybody because anybody could come across my website like, hey, I'm looking for a chef for this event. I'm looking for a DJ. They can go ahead and fill out that directory or um, look through it and see who's actually there. But it did essentially start with poetry and poets. Right now, we're partnering with the kind of the Charlotte poetry scene, and this directory is doubled for the Charlotte poets on their own website, specifically for Charlotte poets. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. Somebody will go through all the prompts and they'll have their own profile essentially. So you can click any profile, bring up more information about them, booking information, their own website if they have it. You get a profile picture, examples of the work, and it's really just to make sure that there's visibility to artists,
Yeah.
not only for other companies that may come across my website, but also for myself. I do a lot of bookings here in Charlotte, constantly, probably way too much if you ask certain people, but constantly just to make sure like there's fun things to do. um, Spoken word poetry is so dynamic. I've paired it with a number of different things. I've done this event called Silver Screen Sonnets, where poets write poems about short films,
Hmm.
and will show the short film during the event. The poet then present their poem about that short film that they've been working on for like a month, and then we get the perspective from both the director and the poet about their creative process on stage.
That's dope.
So collaborations like that is what I pretty much specialize in at this point. Just bringing spoken word to other spaces.
That sounds that reminds me of this event in Milwaukee, Groove Theory. I forgot what group. I think it was the film festival that was doing it back when I was there, Black Lens. I'm not sure if it still happens now, but they had an event one time and it was around black biopics, and they would play a clip from a movie, and then the live band they had there would perform some of the songs from that movie. So like Love Jones was one, and they had somebody come up there and they did was it Goody Goody that I think Frank Lyman did or something. No, that was Why Do Fools Fall in Love. That wasn't Love Jones. Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and like Goody Goody, and then like they did Ray, and somebody did like some of the Ray Charles songs. I'm forgetting some other ones up there, but it was such a dope experience. But that puts me in the mind of that, but using poetry,
Yeah,
instead of a live band. But no, and yeah, I think you kind of confirmed, that idea I talked to you about the vines and vibes, because I kind of want to do something like that with wine kind of at the center of it. So yeah, we're gonna have to talk more about that, get that in motion. We gotta do that this year. I gotta make that happen this year. No, that's
definitely.
dope,
Just let me know.
man. I wanted to talk a little bit about your focus on helping poets and artists get other opportunities, kind of expanding their network, giving them access to resources, getting gigs, those types of things. Talk a little bit about the work you're doing there, and what made you do that, and what are you learning throughout that journey?
Yeah, when I originally started just doing poetry, a lot of times somebody wouldn't book you unless you had your own platform, unless you
Mhm.
had X amount of followers. And not at the time, not having my own platform, like I just wasn't getting booked like that. And it wasn't necessarily I wasn't good enough. It's just I didn't have that following, that backing. And so moving here to Charlotte, I kind of wanted to one, eliminate that, and two, figure out how to run my own small business. I had been looking for resources and how to do that. And I was telling some people last week, I bought an LLC just off of vibes. Like I just felt like I just needed one without knowing the repercussions, without knowing how to even run a business. And it took me a long time just to do that. And I didn't really learn how to do that until I did Charlotte's Creative's Creative Entrepreneurship Initiative last year. So I got the tax information. I learned marketing. I learned how to just do logistics for business. And that's where I think I really took off as far as on the business front. But I've always been one to just want to connect, want to offer different opportunities to artists, to poets. It's just a lot of times for some people, poetry is kind of just boring. To be just honest about it,
Yeah.
so you kind of have to pair it with something else, whether it be art, whether it be a motion picture or anything like that. Just keep things interesting. And poets don't always know where to start or how to go about getting opportunities like that. So I kind of serve as like the in between for that. Thinking of different ways of okay, how can we pair these two things that are completely different together. Just last week, I did an event called The Way Words Travel. I partnered with the City of Charlotte Department of Transportation to do a traffic safety, Black history, poetry event.
Hmm.
Again, things that you would never see normally
Yeah.
together, all encompassed in just one thing. And I feel like it really made an impact and really served a purpose. And so the more we can be not only purposeful with our words, instead of always coming from an emotion, I feel like we can have an impact not only in the city but across the world because people need art. That's just a fact, especially in times like these when we struggling to get out of bed, we don't know where our next paycheck going to come from or anything like that. It's like, man, where am I going to get this own self motivation? And then what if you come across a poetry video from whatever event? Then all of a sudden it's like, hey, they're up there doing something that's a lot of people are afraid of, which is just public speaking.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're saying these words and motivating me. And now I'm out of bed, I'm working out, I'm taking care of my mental health because I've heard of somebody else's struggle, how they overcame that.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, you kinda answered it a little bit, but if you wanna talk a little bit more to it, I was gonna say, how do you transform the industry of, poetry, and what's the next level for it? What does it look like? And like you said, just partnering, with unimaginable things or other industries that doesn't really pair together, and then bringing it to the forefront. And I think that's probably how the industry is gonna, take the next level is getting sponsors involved. And I guess how hard is it to get sponsors involved when it comes to spoken word and poetry?
To be honest, I don't know.
Mm,
Figure that out literally right now.
okay.
We're coming up on year 3 for Wine About Poetry, and I really want to do it in a big way that you haven't really seen
Mm.
on this side of Charlotte. Um, I have a team generally, and I have the backing of the poetry community, but having that fiscal, like actual money to really do it on a big level, um, it's going to be tough. But I'm willing to just take on the challenge of figuring out how we get sponsors for these poetry events.
Yeah.
Um, Now, granted, yeah, we have quite a ways to go, as far as making sure that we're seen as valuable, especially to like regular businesses like the Bank of Americas, like the Wells Fargo. Um, but if nobody's willing to do the work, then it would never happen. It would
Yeah.
never happen. So yeah, that's the next level. Larger events, making sure we're on larger stages, making sure that we're still, not watering down our poetry so it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
palatable for everybody, but to make sure that it's hitting the right people in the right way. And that comes from just diligent work on our end.
Gotcha. And what are the acknowledgments like? Do artists feel validated when they are doing their poetry? Is there a local award ceremony where poets can get like maybe the most funniest poet award, the most audacious poet? I'm just thinking of just different titles, but like, is there a way that poet or artists can feel validated when they're in Charlotte at all?
When they're in Charlotte, there is literally, I think, one award, and that's the Poetry and Motion Award.
Okay.
I was first nominated for that award literally last year.
Mm.
Okay.
Lost to Sir Abstracts, and that's that competition I was talking
That was
about.
bad. You're gonna
Um,
beef.
but luckily, me and the Queen
Concrete.
City Awards were able to make a partnership out of that anyway.
Dope.
Mhm.
And that's why we have the competition now. So at the end of the competition, we'll have a pretty much a grand winner for that. But outside of that, there's not too many different award shows. There is a poetry festival coming up, I think, this summer. I don't know if they give out awards, but they definitely have a large enough platform to make sure poets do feel appreciated.
Mm.
But as of right now, that appreciation just comes from being booked, being good enough that somebody sees that you need to be on their platform. Which is why people like Be Poetic or people like a Poet Named Superman really enjoy performing at Wine About Poetry because people actually engage back. They snap,
Yeah.
they clap, they talk to you afterwards like, hey,
Yeah.
what you said really meant something to me. And so honestly, I think that's probably better than any trophy that you get. Like that acknowledgement is cool, but to know that you made an impact on an individual person, I think a lot of times is better.
Yeah, because you spoke to something. I actually was going to ask you, are there poetry festivals out here? Like we have a lot of music festivals. We host Share the Vibes Fest, which is music and technology for musicians. But I was wondering if there's anything like that for poetry, for poetry for poets. And I also wanted to ask, just when we think about that creative process, when we think about music, they have like writing camps and a lot of collaborative things like that, listening sessions where you might come up, listen to an album, give you feedback on it. Does those type of forums exist in the poetry world? Like are people collaborating to
Uh,
get pieces together and stuff?
Sometimes it's few and far between, at least on the festival standpoint. Just because, like I said, a lot of it is that rebuilding, making sure that one, we know where all the poets are, and two, that they're engaged with the community constantly. But they are writers' workshops, pretty much on a regular basis. Poet Named Superman has one every single Wednesday, and there's a couple. I think there's even one by Jay Ward, who's Charlotte's first poet laureate. That means he
Mm.
represents all of Charlotte when it comes to poetry. He has, I think, monthly workshops to just not only poets can get like feedback for their poetry, but can also get a lesson from another poet laureate, whether they're from Rock Hill or North Carolina's poet laureate. So there's definitely resources as far as learning how to one write better and then two perform better.
Now, I want to get to a little bit of the business side of poetry. So we talk a
Mhm.
lot with artists, music administrators, and on the music side is, hey, you need to be registered with your performing rights organizations like your ASCAPs, BMIs, to protect your music, get your royalties. Um, make sure you know what your splits are when you collaborate with other artists and producers, things along those lines. So talk a little bit about the business side of poetry. What are some of the things you need to have in order as a poet? Are there organizations you need to be registered with to get your royalties and things? How do you protect your IP? Just what are some of like those business side things of poetry? How do you make money off of it? All that good stuff.
Yeah, as far as just the vocalness of poetry, it's pretty much the same thing as music. Like you have to be registered with the same type of organizations.
Okay.
With poetry kind of features, I require just having your own electronic press kit. At least at the bare minimum, a photo, a bio, and things like that. Um, but there's not too much of that. I don't want to call it gatekeeping, but that platform that really requires poets to have X, Y, and Z. We don't necessarily have booking agents or entire agencies dedicated to that. Spoken word as an art is fairly new, so a lot of that foundation just isn't there.
Yeah.
There are organizations that are working to make sure that we have resources like that, like the Poet Life, that's dedicated to just making sure that one, poets stay booked, they have the bare minimum what they need, and a lot of times that just ends up being a contract saying like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna be paid this amount for this work or this many hours. This is what I'm going to give you in return. And just starting out, I think that's just the bare minimum. Luckily, we do have a Grammy category in
Yep.
which somebody
Yep.
can submit a whole spoken word album just for that. I've known poets such as Queen Sheba that submitted. Blues has also submitted. I think, yeah, the Charlotte poetry. I wouldn't just say the Charlotte poetry scene just dropped a whole entire album just to submit to the Grammys.
Hmm.
So I believe they also have to register and get their necessary credentials just for that.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I don't know what I don't know, but like I've learned a
Yeah,
lot just around the business side of music. Even just doing the podcast, learning about these organizations and things you need to have in order. So I just wondered if there's anything like that on the poetry side too, which sounds like you do have those similar organizations that you still register
yeah.
with, and like you say, there's a Grammy category now, so I'm sure there's a lot of parallels in the process there. But always learning, man. And salute to you for giving poets a platform to expand their audience, to share their art, to
Sure.
get that recognition, that validation, that we all want as creators, and also to educate them on on keep handling your business because it's important.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I've always been a resource for a number of things, but I feel like I'm very proud to be a resource for poetry, just because there's a whole lot I don't even know. And so
Yeah.
when I'm going out and looking for answers, I can just go ahead and relay that back to anybody else that's looking, so they don't have to look as hard as I did.
Yeah,
So, well, I was gonna say, Devin, I think it's that time, man,
yeah.
to kind of go into our next segment here. And I didn't have any idea. I kind of got some ideas. I got two ideas for Vibe Talk. I got one is songs that have some type of horn instrumentation in it, or artists that are considered poets as well. Because I got one in mind. So I don't know if any of those ring a bell, or if there's any other categories you got for Vibe Talk.
I kind of like the horn idea.
Okay.
Like I said, I was thinking about Boney James earlier. It's actually a saxophone and not trumpet, but it's a horn nonetheless, so it
It's
counts.
horn.
I don't know what you feeling. So Frank, just to give you maybe some context here. So each episode we do a vibe talk segment where we have a certain theme. If we have an artist song, we normally play a few songs from their catalog. We'll play a snippet of the songs, and they'll give us like the backstory on it, tell us a fun fact about it, how they wrote it, something we should know, whatever. When we don't have artists on, we just come up with other fun ways to make the vibe talk segment happen. So we had my guy AP, who I connected you with. He's a tax guy, so we did like favorite songs about money or something with him. We had one time. We had DJ Slim Rob on, and he was telling us, when you download your music, just get the clean version. Save you some time. You can play them anywhere. So we did like songs where the clean version actually sounds better than the dirty version. So we just do like fun things with it. So what you feeling for today's vibe talk?
Oh man, two great choices. Because two different things come to mind. I feel like Kendrick Lamar definitely is a
Mhm.
poet.
Yeah.
But I also hear that one trumpet line is Andre 3000.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So
You know,
whichever one.
okay, let me do this then. I'll go ahead and play the song I was going to play, and then you guys can think of something while I'm playing it. I'm gonna go with a poet of mine, a poet that I have in mind, which is none other than Common the People.
Mm.
Yeah, it's for the people. This is street radio for unsung hero. Riding in the Rego, trying to stay legal. My daughter found Nemo, I found a new primo. Yeah, you know how we do it for the people and the struggle of the brothers and the folks. The lovers of the dope, experiment to discover hope. Scuffle for notes, the rougher I wrote times was harder. Went from rock started to the voice of a martyr. Why white folk focus on dogs and yoga. My people on the low end trying to ball and get over. Lyrics are like liquor for the fallen soldier. From the bounce to the house. It's all our culture. Every day we hustling, trying to get them customers. While we ain't trusting them, thick bras, we busting them. Sick and tired of punching it. I look on the bus at them. When I see them struggling, I think I'm touching them.
There we go. I had to make have what's his name? Is it Dwelly pop in real quick. But that man, oh my god, why is Kanye so crazy? That beat is so cold, dog.
Yep.
Like what?
Yep.
Oh my god. Shout out to Common though. Common is a beast, man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
What y'all got? What y'all got?
I want to go a song with a trumpet in it, but I'm trying to think of a good one.
Okay.
I feel like it's one of those that I'm gonna think about as soon as we got off the call. Like, dang, I should have played that. I can think about saxophone sons, but I'm trying to think specifically of a song that got like a distinct trumpet line that I like.
All right. If y'all ain't got one, I got something. I got another one.
I don't know, man. Frank, what you got over there, man?
Wait, so just so I know, are we just playing the song?
Yeah, we're gonna play a snippet of the song,
Okay.
and we'll give our commentary.
Yeah, give it to me and I'll play it over the what's the name? What song you got?
All right, nope, I need a second.
I got another one. So I got another one for y'all. Here we go. Y'all gonna like this one.
This is state of emergency, bitches. What you want me to do? I'm sorry. I'm back. Let's go get them, shots. Hey, 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 hey. Show me what you got, little mama. Show me what you got, bird lady. Show me what you got, shawty. Show me what you got, baby. Hands up and wave, 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 wave. Get a drummer some. Shit, I already gave the summer some. It's the winter's turn. Hobie Ho is the coldest. I just get better with time. I'm like Opus, one young, no two alike like a snowflake. Okay, show me what you got, babe. Words slurring, engine purring. Mommy front, but I'm so
Just Blaze on the, I know we talking about the horns, but Just Blaze on the drums is something else.
He is.
Ooh-wee.
He is.
That man was killing it on them drums.
He is. All right, I got me a song now too. Had to go back to my band days, but Frank, we'll let you go first.
All right, Outkast, Spotty Eye, Dopalicious.
Yeah.
All right. Dopalicious.
I don't know if the horns don't come into like the end.
Pull it up. You said Dopalicious?
Yeah, Spotty Eye, Dopalicious.
Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. I think it come in early.
It should be coming in now.
Yeah.
Never mind. Played myself.
There we go.
Yeah, that was a great choice.
Ooh, fire.
Great choice. Great choice. Got a little classic Outkast, man. So, Southern Cadillac music, one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Down south is different. They didn't sound like nobody else. That's dope.
Yeah, man. All right, so mine, I'm gonna take it back to one of my favorite songs from band. Actually, this is "Vehicle" by the Ides of March. Yeah, Frank know what I'm talking about. You all right with
Mm-hmm.
me? Everybody don't know that
Yep.
one. Hold on, start that over. No, we ain't about to disrespect "Vehicle" like that. Run that back. Run that back.
Hey, well, I'm a friendless stranger in the black sedan. Won't you hop inside my car? I got pictures, got candy, I'm a lovable man, and I can take you to the nearest star. I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, woman. By now I'm sure you know that I love you, I need you, I want you, got to have you tried. Thank God in heaven, you know I love you.
Ooh, I love "Vehicle." It still hit the same to this day. Man, one of my favorite
Yeah.
songs from my band days, man. I love "Vehicle."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's a
sir.
classic.
Yes, sir, Doc. Yes, sir, Doc. I feel
So,
good now, man. I feel good now, man. That was good. That was
yeah.
good. That was good. I almost forgot. That would have been when I would have been kicking myself. I got this call. Like, dang, I should have did "Vehicle." Would have been kicking myself, man. Nah, man, Frank, this has been dope, man. I really appreciate you coming on the platform, sharing with us from the music side, your poetry side. Let people know what you got coming up, what's going on in the city, what is in the city or not. Just what's up next for you?
Oh man, it's a little bit of everything. Doing a collaboration with another artist. Her name is French. The event is called Shades. It's a color themed variety show. So we'll have a poet, we'll have a musician, rapper, and our own DJ set. First one is March 22nd. The theme is green, so we'll be rocking all green the entire night. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Keep up with Poetry and Motion Awards all the way through June. Keeping up with Wine About Poetry anniversary come up in August. The goal is to do a whole entire festival for that anniversary show. So yeah, we're talking about some big things. We're talking about pushing poetry, pushing the art form. All the links are in my bio at Frank underscore expression. That is Frank underscore expression.
Good stuff, man. I was trying to look at the expression directory, but it told me I needed access. So I don't know if that's intentional or not. But
Hmm.
but check that.
I'll check that. Yeah, because we recently changed platforms to Airtable, and
Okay.
so there might be a link that's like old.
Okay. 'Cause it was taking me to a Google Drive.
Yep, that's an
Yeah.
old link.
Okay. Cool. Nah, man. Hey, man. Yeah, I definitely want to pop out. Check out what you have going on. So I caught the wine about poetry in January, I believe it was, with Abstract. Super dope event, great vibe. It had me some good wine while I was there too. So I definitely plan to pop out again. And pull through, and then we gonna be, y'all be on the lookout for Frank Expression, Share the Vibes, Just Grapes collaboration coming here to the city pretty soon, man. So we're gonna make something shake. So I'm excited about that. But how can people stay in contact with you, man? How can they stay connected with you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Frank underscore expression. That's Frank underscore expression. TikTok, Facebook, same thing. You check out my website, frankexpression.co. That's frankexpression.co. Thank you all for having me. This has been absolutely amazing. I've had such a great time, meeting, collabing, just having a whole conversation, like really getting the word out there about what I'm doing, about what's next for poetry. Just thank you so much.
Absolutely, man. We're glad to have you on. We like bringing on dope people that's doing dope things. That's what we're all about here. So thank you for coming on, sharing with us. And we can't wait to see what you got going on. And I'm here in Charlotte, so I plan on popping out to something pretty soon. So absolutely. One J, any last words from you, good brother?
Man, listen, I can't wait to see the smacked edition of poetry. This is gonna be cracking. I can't wait to see that. So if anybody that's into the hip hop, Smack is the cipher hip hop app, whatever. But I would love to see an app where we could just get poets and just pull up different poetry and different things like that. So that'll be dope. And that could be merged that technology and poetry and all that good stuff. And be a great platform to see new poets and yeah, that'd be dope. And this, like I said, I want to see some poet beef.
Right.
That's what I want to see, poet beef.
Right.
bring the best out of you.
Yeah, bring back Poet Beef.
Bring back Poet Beef.
Good poet beef, y'all. Good poet beef. No, don't put your hands on each other now. Just get to hit each other with metaphors and similes. How about that?
Oh man. Hey, make sure you go to sharethevibesllc.com. July 12th, we're getting ready for our 4th annual Share the Vibes Music and Technology Festival. STV Fest going down. STV 4, July 12th, Milwaukee. We will be back at Vivarium this year. Got a special day lined up for you. So hey, we're gonna be announcing the artists in the lineup pretty soon. Workshop, podcast, and everything else we have going on. It's going to be coming out very soon. But July 12th is the date. The flyer is circulating, and there'll be more coming on that. So, hey, sharethevibesllc.com. All the information you want to know is there. Tickets will be going live soon, so you can be in the number with us, and don't miss your blessing. Don't miss your blessing. Now, the one J be telling y'all, we welcome shame back here at Share the Vibes. Shame is back. And one J has been adamant about shaming y'all if you haven't caught the festival in the past. So don't be one of those people. Don't be shamed this shit. Get your ticket and pull up on us. We're gonna have us a great time, man. So excited about that. I didn't get my spiel at the front of the podcast, so I'm gonna do it now. Make sure you go to sharethevibesllc.com and get you some merch. We got t-shirts, we got hoodies, we got crew necks. I plan to get some hats on there pretty soon. But don't worry about it. Don't wait for that. You just get the hats when they come. Get what's out there right now. Get these shirts. Get the merch. I got oversized embroidered shirts. I got regular t-shirts. We got crew necks and hoodies. It's still cold somewhere. So, hey, tap in. Get with us. Get with us. Be stylish. Be warm all at the same time. And be comfortable while you do it. My Lord. Hey, man.
Hey.
I think that's a done deal, man. This has been great. Frank Expression, salute to you. Salute to everything you have going on. Make sure y'all click that link in the description. Get your tickets for Wine About Poetry. Check out Poetry in Motion and everything that Frank has going on, man. It's all dope. And we're just glad to be a part of it. So thank you, brother. Make sure y'all tap in with Audio Moguls Podcast Network. Check out all the podcasts in our Audio Moguls family. Hey, again, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, comment, click the bell so you know we're live. Share this with somebody who needs to hear the conversation. Share this with an aspiring poet. Share this with somebody who's a musician, who's a trumpeter, who wants to see somebody who's taking this and turn it into something that makes sense. So, hey, man, hey, dope stories, dope conversations, dope vibes. We appreciate you. If you're here to the end, you love us. We love you more. But until next time, stay safe, stay blessed, keep sharing the vibes. Peace.
Peace.